this is the nails that we found at this house. Pretty good. This is what is referred to as a cougar paw. This is my shoe. So they're boots, they lace on the top. On the bottom, they have this foam pad. So it helps you to kind of gives you better grip on shingles roofs. So the granules will go into the foam, so it helps grip a little bit better. But this is what they look like. In a video the other day, about 2 days ago, I discussed different products that are installed on a roof. So I'll kind of show you some of them right here on this roof. So this right here, I didn't show these. These are what is known as 4-foot off-ridge vents. So they're another roof ventilation. So they would be used in instances like this. We don't have very much ridge space. It's only about maybe 10 feet. So each one of these off-ridge vents is equivalent to 10 feet of ridge vent. So these two off-ridge vents right here are equal to 20 feet of ridge vent compared to the 10 feet that is allotted on this ridge. Some other things installed on this roof. We have, this is a 4-inch gooseneck. It's a different style than we normally use. Like I said, our supplier, they send what they have on hand. So this would be a 4-inch gooseneck. This is a tall one. This pipe down here, this is a 3-inch lead boot. Now you can see this one's been spray painted to match the roof, but this is a 3-inch lead boot down here. We have over here, I discussed cutting a lead boot to fit onto an electrical pipe. So this is what I was referring to. So this is, get a better angle. So this is a lead boot installed on this electrical pipe. So it comes in through the roof from the pole over there into the roof here to this pole, and then it goes down into the attic space here. But so this is the lead boot on the bottom. You can see there's a hose clamp that got installed on the top, and then this top seal is caulked. So all of that has caulking around it, and then it was painted to match the roof as well. So that's some of them. So you can kind of see the size of that lead boot from this distance. So it's a 3-inch lead boot right there. Now the boot that's on the pipe, that's a 2-inch. And then on this back side, there's 2 more 2-inch lead boots. And then that is all the accessories on this roof. So this right here, this is known as ridge cap. So you can see this is referred to a hip on a roof, and then obviously the ridge on the roof. So this roof style is a hip roof. It's got a hip on the front and a hip on the back. And then the ventilation is only right here along this one ridge. It's a very simple roof. And then installed on this roof is Owens Corning brown wood. Looks really nice. It turned out really nice on the show. A little bit of a perspective of a roof. So I'm standing on this roof here. I was about to explain the difference between, like, a field slope, like how I was explaining yesterday, and then, ridge cap and stuff. And I look over at the neighbor's roof across 2 houses down. They have a lot of shingles missing. You can see all those shingles missing there. But they have little red bows on their lead boots. That is too funny. But yeah, so I did want to explain that really quick for you guys. So on this roof has 4 field slopes, or 4 roof facets is another term for it. So a field slope would be this right here. So this wide open slope right here, this is the field of a roof, it's a field slope. So this one has this slope right here, the back slope. This would be technically the right side. This is left, and then front slope. Also, a big thing, I'm just gonna point it out on this roof because it's huge glaring eyesore on the front. A lot of times people don't realize this about their roof prior to the roof getting done. So if your trusses are not installed level, you're gonna see a wave in your roof. So in the plywood decking, you're gonna see a wave in it. Especially building code, we have to re-nail down the decking. So when we re-nail down the decking, it sucks it all back onto the roof. So any imperfections in the trusses, they're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So on this roof, let me see if I can get a good angle of it. Yeah, you can kind of see it right here, right on this front lip. Let me see if I can set you guys down. So this right here, you can see the roof comes down and there's a bump right here and then it goes down. So on hip roofs, like this is the front of the hip, the trusses in this top section are gonna be horizontal. So they don't run vertical, they're gonna run horizontal. Now once you get down the slope, the trusses are gonna turn and then they're gonna run vertical. So because the trusses run horizontal in this line, there's probably a truss that goes from the corner right over there all the way to over here that isn't level with the roof. It sticks up. So when the plywood gets nailed back down, it's gonna sit high on this truss and cause this bump to sit right here. Now the other misconception about this issue is homeowners think that we can just fix that when we do the roof. Now the biggest issue with that is technically we could. The problem with that is we're shaving down your trusses to make that happen. So all the plywood on that slope would have to be taken off, or in line with where that truss is sitting high, and then that truss would have to be shaved down to make level with all the other trusses. And sometimes it's it could be the whole slope all the way down the slope. You're talking 20, 30 plus sheets of plywood on one slope, just to replace one section of trusses. That doesn't make sense to a lot of homeowners, but they think that this is something that we fix when we do the roof, and it's just not, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a lot. It's very, very labor intensive. You have to pull off all the plywood, quite a bit of plywood to do it, depending on how long the stretch is. And then that 2x4 needs to be shaved down, and then you kind of jeopardize the structural integrity of that truss because you've shaved it down. You've taken layers off of this. Like, so this one, in this instance, it's hard for, you can kind of see. Right along this line is the high one, right? And there's high. In order to actually fix this one, this whole truss would have to be shaved down all the way along here, and that would just cause a lot more headache and a lot more worry. So this one is, I'm gonna say as is, but I did just want to show that to you guys and explain it. It's a big thing that homeowners have a misconception about. Now I'm sweating like crazy, and it's not even that it's hot like you could see. It's overcast, but it's so humid because we've been getting so much rain. I mean, you can see the water just sitting on the street. But yeah, we've been getting so much rain, it's so freaking humid. So I'm just drenched. But let's get down off this roof, get loaded back up, and head to our next house. Look, I wanted to show you guys this. I found it when I was magneting. But there's a little bird's nest. It looks to be empty, but still pretty cute. Now let's change our shoes and hit the road. Pulled into the second house that we need to get magnet today. The crew was just here yesterday and got this house magnet, so I'm not going to pass the magnet. I'm just going to fly the drone and get some final pictures, final videos of this house, and then this one should be done. There is 2 bundles of shingles and 3 buckets of cement that are left over. The homeowner asked to keep them, so we're just going to leave them here. I just pulled up to the first house in Spring Hill to magnet. Of course, the sun is out now. Of course. So we're gonna get roasted, but let's knock on the door, let them know what we're doing, and get this one done. So this is what we found at this house. Quite a bit more than I was expecting. I just filmed this entire outro and then realized that I had the Nanit on, and all you can hear is and over me talking. But this is where I'm gonna wrap up the video for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Tomorrow, what we have to look forward to, there is 2 jobs that are rollovers. One of them is in Longwood and one of them is in Bartow, and then we have 1 job starting, so there'll be 3 going on tomorrow: Bartow, Longwood, and Tampa. And then there's supposed to be a 4th one starting tomorrow in Spring Hill, but with the rain that we got Monday, being that we had to postpone those jobs, we pushed every job back a day pretty much. So the job that is scheduled tomorrow to begin in Spring Hill, I'm gonna move that job to Saturday. I need to call that homeowner first thing in the morning and let them know. But yeah, we're gonna move that job to Saturday, and then on Friday we have a job in Largo. So tomorrow will be 1 job that's getting started, and then 2 that are finishing up. We have 2 houses that also still need to get magnet. One of them is in St. Pete. You guys did not see that house. Carlos got that job going. and ran that job for the day. And then we have one job in Spring Hill that we still need to get magnet as well. So tomorrow should be a pretty busy day as well. We spent the day today on the road, from started my morning taking the baby to Land O'Lakes, then we went to Bartow, then we went to Sarasota, we went over the Skyway Bridge, then we went to back to Land O'Lakes, then we went to Spring Hill to magnet a house, and then I called it for the day. So we had a very long day, a lot of driving. I think I filled my gas tank right after I dropped the baby off. So literally the gas station's 2 minutes from my in-laws. So after I dropped the baby off, I filled my gas tank, and I'm already down to a quarter of a tank. That's how much driving that I did today. But we got a lot done, or at least it seems like we got a lot of field work done. We didn't get anything done in the office. We never even made it to the office today, but we'll try to get there tomorrow. But this is where I'm wrapping up the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please do me a favor and leave a like, rating, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Have a great night, guys. Bye.